Hi friends, so it's been a while and it's been a lot better. I feel like I've found like my rhythm in terms of like my everyday reading stuff, but I've definitely slowed down compared to the other months. But for July, I have read a total of 10 books and this is my July wrap up, which is coming in a lot late. We're almost at the end of August, but you know, I guess better late than never. Like I said, I did finish 10 books in July. Well, 9. I did a DNF one, so 9 books plus a DNF. A lot of these are actually arcs that I got from my gallery because I actually have a lot of arcs that I need to finish for this month. So here they are. So the first one that I finished is The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reid. This one is not an arc, but I read this one because I was going to read an arc of Juniper and Thorn after this one, and I wanted to read her first book first. So this one I rated a total of 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this one. It was very atmospheric and I did enjoy the writing style as well. This is actually one of those books that I was planning on saving for August because this is an adult dark fantasy book that just, it screams fall. Like, see, it screams fall. I wasn't planning on reading this one, but I received the arc for Juniper and Thorn, so I read this one and I really, like I said, I really enjoyed this one. 4.5 stars. Very atmospheric. I enjoyed our two main characters as well. Just a lot of fun reading this one. I just wish that I read it during fall, but I still really enjoyed the vibes of it. So the next one that I finished is an arc. I have a physical copy of this now. This is Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reid. This one came out on June 21st and I was able to read this obviously before the end of June, but I still read it at the beginning of July and I really enjoyed this one as well. I would rate this one a 4.75 stars. Again, very atmospheric. I definitely like this one more than The Wolf and the Woodsman because I felt like I knew our main character a little bit more, and this is also very dark. It's like it's a retelling of, you know, the classic fairy tales, but it kind of makes it even darker. So I actually read the original story for this one before I started this just to give me a better idea of, you know, what the story is about or like where it's from, and I like that story. Again, it was very dark, as you know, original versions of fairy tales are, but I really like this one. It does have a lot of talk about like sex. So if that's something that you're very uncomfortable reading about, this might not be the book for you. But again, it deals also heavily with abuse, like child abuse, essentially. So, but again, this is adult too, but the atmosphere is amazing. I actually ordered a special edition of this one too, so because I really enjoyed this. So Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reid. And then I read Beasts of Prey by Ayana Gray. This one is the second book in the Beasts of Ruin series, if I'm remembering the name of the series correctly. I received an arc again from Penguin Teen, and this one I would rate around 3.75 stars. I did enjoy this one much more than the first book, but I feel like there were also a lot of things that kind of went over my head. Kind of also followed the same formula where things were happening, but it didn't feel like there was a lot happening. Also, it definitely picked up by the end. The magic is very interesting and I do enjoy the characters, but it's the overall plot and pacing, just it wasn't as good, or as I wasn't into the plot much, honestly. So, but just plot-wise, it's a little bit lacking in pacing, you know. The next one is It Sounds Like This by Meriano. This is an arc from Penguin Teen. This one came out August 2nd. Rated this one a 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. It had an asexual love interest, so it had that representation. It is very quick read and very fun to read. It's very light. It follows a main character who is part of a marching band and she plays the flute. When she lets their teacher know about a bullying scenario that was happening, like one part of the band gets removed, and so she has to learn how to play like one of the bigger instruments, and she's used to playing the flute. So it's that plus also friendship and romance as well, coming of age. So again, I really enjoyed this one. I just wish that the friendship part was a bit more nuanced because I felt like it could have been a little bit more complex than it eventually became, but I did actually really like the romance part of it. Next one is Bookish People by Suzanne Coll. This one I had to DNF. I think I only read like 15 pages. I just wasn't into it. Like I didn't think I would enjoy it, and just the writing style of it it and just, so yeah, I DNF this one. This was also an arc that I got from NetGalley, so I mean the premise isn't interesting. It didn't have very good ratings on Storygraph or Goodreads, so I had like, you know, lower expectations, but as I started reading it, it wasn't it for me, so did enjoy this one. And then the next one is The Girl from the Well by Chupeco. I don't know why it was set to come out August 5th, but I believe this was already released like a few years ago. I think they might have had like a re-release or something. But this one, I rated a 4.75 stars. I really enjoyed this one. But this is definitely more horror, so I wish I had read this like during, you know, the Halloween time, like fall time. But again, very atmospheric. I actually enjoyed following our main character because the main character, or the main perspective really that we're following, is a ghost. And this is, if you've watched the movie The Ring, is essentially that, but retold in kind of a different way. It definitely delved with a lot of magic, and I really enjoyed this one. Again, a lot of fun and very creepy and scary, and I enjoyed it a lot. So 4.75. The next one is These Fleeing Shadows by Kate Alice Marshall, and this is also another YA book from Penguin Teen, and this one is a horror thriller story. We are following our main character Helen, who goes back to this childhood house that she used to go to with her parents. It's an ancestral home, and when her grandfather dies, they discover that she was actually given the house, but it comes with a condition that she has to stay at this house for a year. And I find that there were a lot of skips in time, so that the entire year has passed in that book, and I felt like it could have been kind of slowed down a little bit, or like we're given like snippets throughout, you know, the months that she stayed there, because I think there was a time that it skipped like 3-4 months and then a 6-month time skip as well, especially because I feel like it would have been a lot better in terms of like the atmosphere if it had more of like a creepy crawly feeling where you can tell that there's something off about this house and you can pinpoint it, and you know, you feel that length of time that you stay there, that you kind of discover things more, but also it makes it more confusing and more creepy as you get to know more things about the house, because the house is kind of alive in a way, and you're also discovering like the secrets why her mother and her left their ancestral home when it's like a big thing in their family, and like all her cousins and all her aunts and uncles lived in that house except for her and her mom. And yeah, I felt like it could have been, in terms of like the reveals, but also like really the twists of the story, I felt like it could have been included a little bit more, give us a little bit more clue, because once those twists were revealed, I was more like, oh, I guess that's what's happened, you know. I felt like it didn't give me enough to kind of, when the reveal happened, it was like it made sense or made it more profound when the twists happened, because I feel like the twists were pretty big on this one. So yeah, still really enjoyed this one though. Very atmospheric. So 4 stars. And then I read Azar on Fire by Olivia Abtahi. This one comes out August 23rd. I really enjoyed this one. I rated this one a 4.5 stars. This is another young adult coming of age story. We're following a main character. She had a bad case of colic as a baby that eventually made it difficult for her to speak and to talk, but she enjoys music a lot, and she decides to join this battle of the bands to make a band and to finally kind of showcase the songs that she had been writing throughout the years. She decides to ask the help of one of the like most popular lacrosse players of their school after she hears him sing in the shower, and it's like her discovering a little bit more about herself, of course, and friendships, because she hasn't really made a lot of friends in her high school. And I really enjoyed following her changing throughout the course of the book, because she's a very likable character, but you can definitely tell she has her own faults. And I enjoyed watching that and seeing her change and evolve and come into her own self as well. There's also a hint of romance in here, which was really cute, and I actually really liked that romance that was present on here. Comforting, coming of age story, so that I really enjoyed. And then I read How to Survive Your Murder by Danielle Valentine. This comes out August 30. And this one I rated a 4 stars. I felt like, so I did enjoy kind of like the twist that was happening in this book, because there is an element of magical realism as well. That's not a spoiler because it happens like pretty early on in the book, but I felt like there were a lot of things that we kind of glossed over to make room in a way for the twist, but at the same time not really. Especially with the end, it felt kind of like it was way too quick. I did enjoy our main characters a little bit. It was definitely atmospheric. This is set during the Halloween time. There is a little bit of an intrigue in terms of like what really happened during that time, because you can tell that there's a lot more layers to the story than, you know, especially hearing it just from the main character. So it's kind of like an unreliable narrator element there as well. But yeah, I felt like the ending could have been a little bit better. Actually, I rated this one 3.75. Yeah, 3.75. It just happened and I was just like, huh, that's it? Like, are you serious? Are you serious? That's it? I felt like there could have been much more at the end of the story. Or there was just like, it didn't really fully make sense to me, the ending. Not really, so I wasn't a big fan of it. And then the last book that I finished is the Villainess, the Marionette first novel. I actually don't have the ebook or physical copy version of this one because I read it through the Radish app. I just input it and cut like the chapters depending on like how many books there are present. So I finished the first volume during July and I really enjoyed this one. If you didn't know, the Villainess, the Marionette is a Korean novel that is turned into a manhwa or an online manga, and the art is amazing. It's so pretty. And I was so surprised to see this on the Radish app, because with the Radish app, you can read the entire book for free if you want to. Well, kind of the entire book. So I think the first few chapters are free, and then you have to wait an hour for every chapter. That's why it took me a couple days to finish the entire thing, even though generally they're like really short books. And the last 3 or 5 chapters you have to pay for, but they're pretty inexpensive. So really enjoy this one. So first book, 5 out of 5 stars. It's more of like it's separated into those books, but like the whole story is that entire like 100. I think there's 100 plus 120 chapters or so. I really enjoy this one, but it's not like a whole novel where it has its own like main plot per book. It's a whole like the main plot is like the entire series itself. But again, I really enjoy this one, and I'm excited to continue reading the manhwa because the book is actually really fun to read. I had a lot of fun reading this one. So yeah, so those are all the books that I've read in July. I'll be making my August wrap up soon. I've been doing very good with my August reading as well because I have finished like two entire sets of Korean novels. One is The Villainess and Marionette. I finished it in August. I finished that in August, but also another one. I'm about to start 2 more. I'm just kind of like compiling, waiting out all the chapters that I have to wait for. I mean, you can pay for it in advance if you don't want to wait, but you know, it's really expensive if you do it that way. But yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you on my next one.